Good evening. Yeah, it's late. I've been hacking around on stuff all day. I got one thing I kind of want to figure out before I sack it and call it a day for today. And I'm stumped, so I thought it might be fun to go live on here and kind of you're gonna be my big internet-sized rubber duck is what you're gonna be. I'm gonna talk you through what I'm doing and why it's confusing me, and maybe if we're very lucky we get somebody popping up in the chat going, oh, you need to disconfobulate the goggle blaster, or maybe I just figure it out, or maybe you'll just get to watch me bang my head against the wall for an hour and then we give up and come back to this tomorrow. But so what I'm trying to do is I got a Visual Studio Code extension that I want to modify. And hello, Danella. Congratulations. You are the first member of the Rubber Duck Army for this evening. Yeah, I got a VS Code extension that it's really cool. Let me show you what I've been playing around with here. So the extension that I've been looking at is called Presentation Buddy. And this is Presentation Buddy. And Presentation Buddy is it's like automated typing, and I need something that does this because I'm like 6 layers of abstraction deep on a protracted piece of yak shaving right now. Because the end goal of this is I got some videos I want to make, but I want to make videos where I can kind of show you the code and talk you through what it's doing, and I don't want to type it while I'm recording. So I've been looking out for tools that'll let me automate coding into VS Code, so I can kind of provide commentary on the top of it. Presentation Buddy is fantastic, and it's awesome, and it's open source, and I've been playing around with it today, and I got kind of stuck on how to get it to run tests properly. Because like a lot of Visual Studio Code extensions, if you go onto the source here and you go into test, and oh look, there's an extension test, and it's just the demo. It's just the define 1 is equal to 1 or whatever that ships with the templates. Which is cool, you know, it's open source, it's free, it didn't cost any money, and the Maurice Debaya, who created the thing, hey Maurice, thank you for this is awesome, and it's open source, so I can step in. Now, I kind of already got it doing the thing that I want, the thing that I want it to do. It's just I need to be able to test it because I need to be more sophisticated with the way I'm parsing and chunking some stuff, and we'll get onto that later. And yeah, it's the Mocha test framework, and now Mocha has been giving me headaches today. So what I want to do is, and now this is what I think is the problem here. Is all right. So I'm going to spin up. I got a new window here, and I've got Yeoman installed, or I got Yeoman is the tool that if you go online, if we go into let me go to there we go, and we type in first VS Code extension, and we punch that in, and somewhere around here, there we go, your first extension. So this is in this topic, we'll teach you the fundamental concepts for building extensions. First, use Yeoman and VS Code. So I got Yeoman installed. Kind of that's all here, and it's good, and it should work. And now, so we're just going through this yo code, and it gives you a bunch of prompts. So I'm going to do that. We're going to go to my terminal here. I'm going to break out of that, clear that window, and I'm going to yo code. And it's gonna, hey look, and that, believe it or not, is ASCII art of a yeoman of the guard. That, you know, that's this dude, yeoman of the guard. See, there he is. Look, as one of these dudes here who guard the Tower of London, except he's been immortalized in a piece of ASCII art, and he makes Visual Studio extensions. I don't know. This is probably why I don't work in marketing. All right. So yes, I want to create a new extension. So this give me a bunch of menus. Yeah, let's create a new TypeScript. What's the name of your extension? Let's call it Rubber Duckery. So yeah, okay. It's gonna give you that. What's the description? Late night rubber ducking. Initialize a Git repo. No, not for this one. Source code with Webpack. I'm assuming that like the capital N there means the default is no. which package manager to use. Yay, Node.js. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're just going to give you choices. All right. We'll try yarn first, and we'll try npm first. And if that doesn't do what I want, we'll try yarn. And if that doesn't do what we want, we'll try pnpm. Running npm install for you to install the required dependencies. Okay, that's nice. 56 packages are looking for funding. Yeah, I'm sure none of them are vulnerable to blackmail of any kind. Do you want to open the new folder with Visual Studio Code? Yes, let's do that. Now this is going to give me a, there we go, look at that. That's my extension. That's spun up in there. And we've got, what do we got? Package.json. All right, that's cool. And now this is like the first time I've played around with building VS extensions. I'm pretty impressed. Like, most of what this stuff does works pretty well. And so this is the package JSON. What do we got? We've got a VS Code pre-publish command. We got a VS Code pre-test command. We got a test. That's all in there. And then if we go over here and we go onto the source folder there, and I open that up, and there's a test folder under there, and we've got this file here. And this is extensions test. So this is some tests, and this thing is just asserting that like the index of 5 in that array is equal to -1. And now this thing here, you see on the left, I got this little window testing. This has popped up, and this is some kind of test runner. Now I just realized I've done something foolish here. I've put my camera right there, and that's where the testing is. I'm going to move this camera a little bit, and you may get the odd, oh, look at that, reality is leaking into the room. We can fix that. Look at that. You can just see the fringe of a Steinberger guitar over there where the green screen doesn't extend that far. Let me just go into filters, and I'm going to crop the edge off that camera there. See, this is the important stuff, the stuff that they don't teach you in computer school. 200, 220, there we go, 230. Boom, back at that. All right, yeah, cool. Okay, so sorted. All right, so this is interesting. This is no tests have been found. Because when I ran this a moment ago, before I fired up the internet rubber duck, it was saying that it had found some tests in here. So now this is running Mocha, and I think if I go to a command line here and I cd into rubber duckery, and I do, this is npm, isn't it? So npm run test. If I do that, this should run that. All right, okay, downloading. So there's a VS Code, kind of like a standalone runtime, because VS Code uses itself as a test runner now, which is actually really cool. Like, that's the kind of thing, it's there. Okay, so it popped up on the screen that you can't see, but it still popped up. Sample test is there, one passing. So first, let's just make sure that if we change that, sample rubber duck test. So there's that, and I'm going to run this again. A little bit faster this time because it doesn't have to install VS Code. All right, sample rubber duck test. So that, I mean, this is something I do a lot in development, is just make sure you're looking in the right place. You change something here, and you make sure that the output, you kind of zig here and make sure that that thing zags. Otherwise, you could waste a lot of time looking at something which isn't the thing you're actually looking at. All right, so let's just check. So if I put a test in here now, so test, why can I not type a bracket here? Interesting. You all know the fancy zones thing that comes with Windows, and for some bizarre reason, when I push the Shift key, it's given me Windows Power Tool keys fancy zones instead of what I want. So let's switch off So this is the fancy zones thing for Windows Power Tools. And yeah, for reasons I don't understand, when I press Shift now, it's prompting me with the fancy zones thing. All right, I opened that, I closed it, now I can type parentheses again. It's these little weird things, you know? The number of times in my life I've been like, yeah, it's probably going to take a couple of days to do that. And then you lose half a day to figuring out why you can't type a bracket right now when it was working yesterday. Let's go back to rubber ducking. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do a test that says ducky fails. And this is just going to be a test that takes nothing. And we are going to assert dot equal. And we're going to assert that, let's say assert rubber is equal to duck. That's a fun thing to do. Okay, there's that. We run that again, npm run test. Okay, boom, yep. I mean, VS Code popped up, but that's good. I'm getting, it's one's passing, one's failing. All right, so this is doing what I expect. Now, the thing that was kind of baffling me earlier was this thing here. The Visual Studio Test Explorer should work with Mocha. Now that's kind of weird because when I did this before, it didn't actually require me to install anything. Let's just type Mocha. So what do we got on here? So we got Mocha test, that runs Mocha tests, then prints the result to an output window. All right. We've got the Mocha Test Explorer. One of the pitfalls of, I guess challenges of having these free open source ecosystems. I have no idea if any of these tools are any good. But that one's got 4 stars and 32 people have rated it. And that one's got 2 stars and 11 people have rated it. And that one has got, based on not maintained Mocha extension, have fun. And that one's got 60 people but I mean, that one's got the most downloads. And how recent are these things? So that one last release was 2022-07. That one last release was 2019-05. So what do we want? Do we want a Test Explorer that's 2 years old or a Test Explorer that's 5 years old? Let's go with this one. But it's probably not going to work, and I'm not going to be surprised. All right. So there we go. Look at that. Now I've got a Test Explorer and a Test Explorer. And let's hit refresh that. Okay, so that's found some tests now. So it's found the source as the test, the extension test suite, and it's found sample rubber duck test, and it's found ducky fails. So let's run tests. Now the thing that I was seeing earlier, okay, so that's good. That's nice. Rubber duck test is passing, ducky fails is failing. Nothing is crashing, nothing is complaining. I'm not getting any headaches coming out of this. So what I want to see now is, let's say if I change this test here to assert that rubber is equal to rubber, and then there's a chord which is control semicolon control L. All right, this is what okay, so you see that? So now the test is failing. Now it shouldn't be failing. I've just edited that test. It should be passing. The actual test in here now says assert that rubber is equal to rubber, and this thing is failing, and it's saying rubber is equal to duck, and I'm not quite sure what this chunk of text, like, is that a tool overlay with no border, or is that maybe worth trying to reload VS Code, says Smab. All right, we can close that. And we can code dot, and we'll open that. So now we got this test should pass. And if I go over to the Test Explorer and I hit refresh, let's run all tests. And it's still failing. Now, I think I know what's going on. I think that the what is happening is, this is TypeScript. This is a .ts file. And TypeScript doesn't do it. TypeScript, you have to turn it into JavaScript before you can do anything with it. And so I think that what I got going on here is that this Test Explorer that's running inside Visual Studio here, because if I go to a terminal, pull up a terminal down here, we're going to go down a very small rabbit hole, because that there should not look like that, because this terminal window should not look like that. This should be preferences, settings. The terminal window needs to use a nerd font. Text editor, font. Now, can I change the font that is used in the terminal independently of the font that is used in the editor? Let's see if we can search. Terminal, terminal, terminal bell, terminal, 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 terminal. Maybe? VS Code change terminal font. Got it. Yeah, whatever. Yep. Huh. That's cool. This is the exact problem we're having. Is you see here we got the little cool like the GitHub icon and the nerd font thing, but then down here we've got these little squares. Yeah, that's what we need. Oops. Open settings.json in VS Code, and then add terminal.integrated.font family. And save and restart VS Code. Alright, so back into VS Code. Settings.json. And somewhere in... yeah, F1, look for reload window. Shortcut for reloading VS Code. Oh, cool. F1 does that. Because Shift-Control-P is the one I normally use, but it looks like F1 does the same thing. And yeah, there's I've been using the reload window thing all afternoon, modifying the plugins and things. But right, so let's see what we can see. We're going to fix this font window, and then we are going to. So I want. So terminal.integrated font family. Now I need to use, so I got Cascadia Mono on the main editor because I don't want to be using normally I use a ligature font, like a programming font that does weird things. I don't want to be doing a ligature font when making training videos because you show people weird glyphs and they don't know what it is. You want to be able to show them what is actually going in the source code. So I just need to look up in fonts. Look at my fonts. I have many fonts. And the Cascadia code and Cascadia Mono. So I think, is it Cascadia? Cascadia Cove Nerd Font Mono is the one that I want. And what is it called? And so the reason the name doesn't match here, it's Cascadia K-A-Y, is that it's an extension. It's the Cascadia code font with a bunch of extra glyphs added. It's what's called a nerd font. So I could do it. I'm going to do a video about nerd fonts next week. But that is Cascadia Cove Nerd Font Mono. What's the easiest way of copying that string? That's what I want it to say. All right. Cascadia Cove. Cascadia Cove Nerd Font Mono. You'd think that'd be somewhere in here I could copy the font name, but fonts are weird. They have a name, they have a full name, they have a file name, they have all this different weird stuff in it. And Cascadia Cove Nerd Font Mono, and stick a dot on the end of that. And now let's try F1 and reload window. Look at that, see? Learning on the internet, and that's got my little tick in it now. Beautiful. All right, so now I've got a terminal down there. So now if I do a yarn test in that terminal, okay, VS Code test, pops up that over there. There we go. Sample rubber duck test, and ducky fails is now passing. And just to prove that's working, if I set that change to be rubber equal to rubber and save that file and just yarn test down there. All right. Okay, rubber equal to rubber. All right, so yarn test from the console that's cool. That's working. That's doing what I expect. The problem is this thing over here. Now, what's interesting here is if I run these tests, okay, so that all passes. And now down here, if I say rubber equal to glue, and I rerun these tests, it doesn't pick up the change. Okay, it still thinks rubber equal to rubber. But if I come down here, and I open the terminal, and I do a yarn, is the yarn builder command? No. But I do a yarn test from there. So that fixes it, and you see this is now updated. So the problem here is the Test Explorer is not triggering the, because I think if we dig into the innards here, the tests that are actually running are these things here, test out extension.test.js, because this is the stuff that gets compiled. Now there's a way, an easy way we can test this theory, is I can go into my Test Explorer here, and I'm going to find, so this is compiled JavaScript. So let's say rubber equal to, I don't know, timber, and save that. And so Sophie says, I wonder if it's possible to set up a script that watches your sources and retranspiles on changes. That would be one way of doing it. The other thing would just be to figure out if this Test Explorer can be smart enough to, you know, pick up changes. Because if I hit refresh now, so rubber equal to elephants, save that, 3 there. So this thing, the Test Explorer, is picking up changes to the JavaScript in pretty much close to real time. Like, so we make a change here and it automatically does that. So what am I looking for here is VS Code. So let's go with Sophie's idea. Continuously transpile TypeScript. All right, so there's a thing called TSC watch. All right, how can I find, yeah, that's fine. 8 years and 10 months ago, somebody said, how can I configure Visual Studio Code to compile TypeScript files on save? May 2018 update. Run tsc -init in your project folder. All right. I mean, it's on Stack Overflow, right? So it can't be bad. Let's try that. The term TSC is not recognized. Oh, sweet. All right. This is the whole, so many of these, you know, tools and recommendations, they assume that, like, they show you step 6 because they assume you've already done steps 1 through 5. And, like, this afternoon I was on step 0 of this entire process. So, like, I don't even have a TSC. There's, yeah. All right. Okay, all right. Visual Studio Code includes TypeScript, but does not include the TypeScript compiler. The easiest way to install it is through npm. Boom, copy, paste, done. Woohoo! Now we've got TSC. Look at this, TSC. All right, now we have a TypeScript compiler. Okay. Yeah. It's important to keep in mind that VS Code's TypeScript language service is separate from your installed TypeScript compiler. All right, so VS Code, add a tsconfig.json. Okay. So that, let me have a look. What do I have in here? I already have a tsconfig.json. Look at that. It was installed with that Yeoman template thing that spins up the VS Code extension. All right, so that can go. But I mean, thank you very much to let's follow Trungvos on Twitter. I'm gonna need a browser that's logged into stuff to do that. Yay. Founded Angular SG. I'm guessing that's Angular Singapore. Thank you, Trung. That post was awesomely helpful. Anyway, right. Back on track. So we were... All right. So let's just take a look here. I'm going to just spin this up side by side. So we got that one over there. We got that one over there. We'll close that bar down. So compiler options. Target is ES5. Well, I'm targeting ES 2022, but that's cool. Module, I'm using the Node 16. I'm not using Node 16. I'm running Node version 20 something. But I'm using the Node 16 module resolution system. Source map is true. All right. So that's all. So there's a run build task, and it says if we pick the watch. All right, when I do a Shift Control B in that window, it doesn't give me the option. Okay. Now this is the point I'm not doing I'm not starting from scratch here with TypeScript. I've got this VS Code template already plugged in, that the VS Code extension template that Yeoman created. JavaScript source maps, generated files, hiding those. What else do I have in here? Let's just take a look. So I've got my, so that's my package JSON there. I'll shrink that across to there. All right, so I've got a watch on there already. So let's just try this. VS Code TypeScript watch. Yeah. Watch TypeScript on save. All right, so this refers to an option called watch true. This says you need this in your VS Code tasks.json. So I got a VS Code there with a tasks.json. All right. And that is, yeah. Type is npm. So his background is true. I mean, this is like 8 years old. I want a version of that is not 8 years old. Open a TS file. Control Shift B does not show TS mode watch option. Okay. Not straightforward. That very much describes what is happening with this right now. So what do we got? VS Code, that's, yeah. If you add compile on save to your tsconfig.json, do we have compile on save? No. uh, it's one of those frustrating things where, you know, this is TypeScript and VS Code are being actively developed and have been for a long while, which means there is a wealth of information out there. L filters, let's go. Tools, anytime, past year. That looks August 2023. All right. Yes, cookies. Yeah, whatever. No, don't do that. Okay. Do I have TypeScript compiled? I mean, yeah, but let's just check. We got a terminal over there. Yes, we got a TypeScript compile. Yep. Yeah. Okay, on OS X. Might work. So that's still talking about compiler options. Watch is true. What do we think? Let's plug that in, see what happens. All right. Let's reload the window. Okay. There. See where we got it from. Okay, and so what do we got now? We are looking for, I mean, that's, I guess, jump straight into the thing. Rubber equal to glue, rubber equal to hammer. Save that. Sweet. You see that? Oh, now that's interesting. That's wonderfully interesting because this is now complaining and saying that I can kill one of those and I should be able to kill that PowerShell as well. So tsconfig.json is now complaining that watch can only be specified on the command line. So tsconfig line 11. So if I comment that out, and now go back to extension test. All right, so there's my test watcher. Rubber equal to giraffe. Save that. It's working now. All right. What's changed? So the easiest way to see what's changed is I'm going to go back to my original terminal and I'm going to yo and I'm going to code and I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did before. I'm going to go yo code, new extension, TypeScript. What is the name of your new extension? Dubberruckery instead of rubber duckery. Yeah, whatever. Initialize the repository, no. Webpack, no. npm package manager. So now I got two folders side by side. One of them is the one that I've been messing with, and the other one is still exactly what's created by the template. So no, I'm going to skip that, and now I'm going to BC is beyond compare here, so I should be able to do it. There we go. So we got a side-by-side file comparison. And I'm going to say rules. I want to compare the file contents, rules based. Reload that. All right, so what have I got in my TS config? Those 3 lines, which are all commented out, should make no difference. The README file is just a thingy change. Package lock.json is just the package name. Package.json is just the package name. And then a source test extension.test.ts. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Debugging. I'm going to run code. Whack that up full screen. Open the Test Explorer. Now that's interesting, because this is now saying no tests available. So I'm going to do a yarn, what is it, yarn test on here. Because I wonder if the Test Explorer didn't find it because there was no JavaScript yet. Those JavaScript files that the Test Explorer is actually running did not exist. So there, all I've done there, I've done a yarn test at the command line. It's popped up the window. There's that. We go back over here. And now, so we got that VS Code test window. There's our source. There's our test. There's our extension test. Let's refresh that. Okay. So that's now found source test extension test suite sample test. So if I come over here and I do test 2, that goes to assert dot. Is there an assert dot true or an assert dot pass? No, there's just assert dot equal assert dot fail. Assert dot equal 1 2. Okay, boom. Save that. Now you see that's not picked it up. The test has not picked up. If I refresh that now. So let me try reloading this window. Okay. There's the test runner. It's only found sample test. So we got 2 projects side by side. One of them is working, one of them is not. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to synchronize those text changes. So that watch equals true, that's commented out. That shouldn't be doing anything. But this is the rubber duck test. Rubber equal to changes. Save that. Boom. That kicks in immediately. All right, that's got a watch task running. I wonder what started that. Oh, hang on. Right. So when I hit Shift Control B, rubber equal to monkey, save that. All right. Okay. I think I see what's going on. So the projects are identical. The point is, I need to go into the test I'm working on. I hit Shift Control B. That's building down here. Spin, 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 spin. But it looks like that starts a background process that is going to, let me show running tasks. Okay. So that's all you need to do is a Shift Control B. That starts a watch window. So test 2, if I change this to be test hello, save that. All right. You see, it's real simple once you know the answer. But when you don't, the whole thing can be completely baffling, and you're staring at it going, and there's always that sense of, is my expectation realistic that this should just work? Like, if I follow the instructions and I open up a test and I change it, should it pick it up? Because the tutorial thing that we went through on that how to build your first extension, yeah, so this says open source extension, press F5. This will run a new developer host window. I don't recall seeing anything in here about you need to do a Shift Control B to set a watch running in the background. And I guess the other question now is, so that's watching for file changes, but if I press F5, so this is neat, because what we can do with the Visual Studio extension stuff is, so this is running, this is the extension development host. So if I go into the palette here and I type hello world, that's hello world from Rubber Duckery. That displays that. And I can come in over here now and I can modify the source code for my extension, which is extension.ts. And I can change this from hello world to hello internet from Rubber Duckery. And I save that, and then I jump back in over here and I reload that, and then I hit the command palette hello world and we get hello internet. So actually the reload test evaluation, you know, being able to it's like back in the it's in the next paragraph of the article. all right. Developing, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Is it? So we got your first extension, we got npx package, we got npm install, we got run hello world. Yep, we did that. The F5 works. Run, change the message. That works. Should see the updated message. Yeah, that works. Yes. Mihai, if there's a reference in this article to the Shift Control B and starting the TypeScript runner, I don't know if you can see something I can't. Anyway. All right. So, there we go. That's probably a interesting point to wrap this thing up. So what have we learned is you got to press Shift Control B, and then it works. And if you don't press Shift Control B, it doesn't work. But cool. So what I'm actually working on is that presentation buddy thing. I want a way to be able to point it at something like a C# source code file, and when you click a button it types to the end of the line, but I want to be able to configure it to like type to the next opening parenthesis. And the fun part there is in building the code which will, because you got JavaScript split, but what I want to do is I want to split, but I want to keep the things that I split on, and that's surprisingly difficult. But that's for another day. I'm going to call it a night, folks. It's 10 minutes to midnight where I am, and my brain works better when it's had sleep. Thank you, Internet. That was enlightening. I hope you enjoyed it too. You folks take it easy. I'll